Hey everybody, got an awesome system I'm going to be putting together for you in just a second. This is going to be a custom audience builder using Instagram data and the Facebook API. If you guys have wanted to improve your return on ad spend or find ways to more finely tune audience members to show your ads to, this is the system for you. Stay tuned and let's get into it. Okay, so I want to be abundantly clear. I haven't actually built the system yet. I'm going to be building it alongside you. That's the whole point of the video. So I have a rough idea of what I think this is going to look like, but I'm going to leave in all of the detours and any minor bugs that I encounter along the way. And the reason why I do this is so you guys can see what an actual development process looks like, not just a sanitized pretty picture of the final product like I think a lot of people are doing on YouTube, but the actual nuts and bolts of what my thought processes are at every step that, get me to the end result. Otherwise, it's like I'm just showing you a picture of the Empire State Building and then saying, build it, right? The picture is nice and it does give you some information, but doesn't really give you the actual step-by-step on how to do something like this yourself. So anywho, we got the comment right here, as covered. Some people scrape their competitors' Instagram followers to later use them in a custom audience for Facebook ads. So what I'm thinking we're going to have to do, obviously, is we're going to have to find a way to scrape competitor Instagram followers. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then I don't know if we'll be necessarily able to connect this with Facebook. If we can, then I'll do the connection and we'll actually do this via API. If not, I'm just going to export like a CSV and just have it all nicely formatted and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting ask in all honesty. I don't have as much experience in the paid ad space. Last time I did paid ads for any meaningful volume was probably like at least 3 or 4 years ago. Basically, my very first stop is I'm just going to look into the custom audience variables. Like, what do you actually need in order to upload a custom audience? So I've opened up the tab that gets me to this information here. I just went on adsmanager.facebook.com/adsmanager/audiences. And then from there, there's this create a custom audience button that I clicked on, and then I clicked on customer list. And from here, you can see that, they ask me for a bunch of identifiers. They basically say, in order to have this be sufficient for a custom audience, you need to include at least one column that has this: email or phone number or advertiser ID or Facebook user ID or page user ID or their first name or their last name. Presumably, and I don't know this for sure, but presumably the more fields here you provide, the higher the likelihood is that this is going to find the actual person. On top of that, you can include some more identifiers. You can include the city, the state or province, the country, zip, postal code, date of birth, year of birth, gender, and age. That's all really cool. And then last but not least, you can also add customer value to create a value-based lookalike, which I'm not really sure what that means. Then there's some data processing options. So really the very first thing, before I even put together the flow, and I usually create a flow in Whimsical here. I'm going to be walking you guys through how I do that in a second. The very first thing I do is at the very beginning, I start with what data am I actually getting from this data source? Or I guess in this case, what data do I need in order to accomplish my goal? So that's sort of number one. So I'm going to go back here and I'm actually going to download. It looks like they have a file template. So I'm going to download this file template. And then I'm just going to go sheets.new. And then I'm just going to import this file template just so I could see what this looks like in an actual, spreadsheet. So let's see here. So we have 3 email columns. Interesting. And it looks like the reason why we have 3 is because you can add multiple email columns. Actually, it looks like you can add as many of these as you want. And then they'll try and match the data points. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. MAIDID, I don't know what that is. Some sort of advertising ID, I imagine. Let me see what the specific term was called. Mobile advertiser ID, okay. FN stands for first name. LN stands for last name, obviously. Zip code, city, state, DOB, DOBY, that's the year, gender, age, UID, and value. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what the value is there. But anyway, I'm pretty confident that we can get at least some of this information. And we're not going to have all of the information for everybody. What I'm thinking is, since we're going to be scraping Instagram, keep in mind, you don't just have to scrape Instagram. Maybe I'll throw in a couple other platforms there as well. Who knows? But because we're going to be scraping Instagram, we're going to probably, I don't know, maybe half the time get the first name, right? A lot of the time we're going to be able to get the location as well. So we might be able to say city for sure. Probably be able to say country. I don't know if we'll necessarily be able to do date of birth year. We'll probably be able to do a couple of these other things. So yeah, I'm gonna run through this and we'll see how this goes. But I'm pretty confident that this is going to be fine. I think we can probably get the vast majority of what we need. Just going to flip over my phone because I keep on getting calls and it's kind of distracting. Okay, let's run through this and let's actually, first of all, we need to recreate the spreadsheet. So I'm just going to go to, actually, I have to go to another email address here, right there. I'm just going to paste these headers in. And that should be sufficient. We're just going to call this like custom audience. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just really quickly map out what I think my flow is going to look like. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to scrape Instagram, scrape their competitors' Instagram followers. So scrape Instagram followers using Appify probably, and I'll show you that in a second. From there, I'm thinking we're going to need to enrich data if necessary. And I'm thinking for this, we could probably like pump the data into Perplexity or do a Google search on the contact or look for their Facebook page. I'm not sure about this, but we'll see. After that, we will add to Google Sheet database. And then after we've added this to this Google Sheet database here, custom audience, so let me just call this custom audience database. We will, either, and I don't know this for sure, but we're either going to add to Facebook custom audiences via API. I need to look into this, or we'll just export CSV. So if the API is possible, then we'll go down here. And then if not, we'll just export the CSV for user to upload. That should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So as you guys can see, I mean, this is like 3 or 4 steps. Not going to be a super complicated system, but you'd be surprised at how simple some systems that generate outsized revenue amounts are. If the system ends up working and, it's like good for, at movie-mark, this is something that might be able to improve the accuracy and the conversion rate and the ROAS on their campaigns like 15 times. Who the hell knows? So yeah, that's sort of my mindset with this. Let's actually get into how we're going to do all of these steps. The first is to scrape Instagram followers. As I mentioned, I'm probably going to use Appify. If you guys aren't familiar with Appify, basically what it is it's a giant marketplace where people spend all the time and energy to make a scraper for mostly social media purposes, and then they actually just charge you a little bit to use it. So it's this big open marketplace. It's blowing up right now. Everybody on planet Earth is using this. And it's probably what we're going to use here. As you see, Instagram scraper, Google Maps extractor, Facebook post scraper, TikTok extractor. You can get basically anything you want. I'm just going to type in Instagram here. And I'm just going to see all of the options I have. And if you think about it, I'm kind of looking for a couple things. Like what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to scrape the followers logically of a page. The reason why we need to do that is because we need the ability to scrape the competitor's followers. And then, we may be able to further scrape an individual page sort of one at a time, or maybe we'll do it in some sort of batch upload way. So that's sort of my logic here. I see an Instagram profile scraper. I'm just going to hold Command and click on this to open the tab. Instagram post scraper. I don't really care about that. This one just seems general, so I'm going to click on that. This is $1 per 1,000 rows. This is probably what I want. Okay. Okay, great. So I'm just going to try this one out. This one looks the best to me. And I'm just going to close the 8 million other tabs that I just opened. And I'm just going to give this a try. What I need to do first is I need to grab my Instagram cookies. So I'll show you guys how to do that in a second, but I actually have an Instagram page. So I'm just going to open this up. And hopefully none of my memes are extraordinarily offensive. Shit. Well then. Just give that a quick little click. Actually, this is a great example. Why don't we give this guy a try? So I'm just going to copy and paste that. And then I'm going to paste it into username here. So do you ever just fucking ascend? The list type that we're looking for is the followers. I want to get some of his followers. And then the count per page, experimental. I don't really know what this is. Experimental if you want to speed up the process user hours. Default is 12. I'm going to keep that as 12. Pagination token, no idea what that means. And then Instagram cookies I have to provide. All right, so in order to grab the Instagram cookies, what you need this plugin called Cookie Editor. So I already have Cookie Editor. I'm just going to go over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to export all of this as JSON. And then it looks like we just need to click on the extension, export the Instagram cookies, paste the copied contents here. So I'm just going to try pasting the contents here. I think this should work. We'll see. Proxy configuration. This one's a residential proxy. It looks like it's recommended. I'm going to try, Okay, I'm going to try this residential proxy. We'll give it a try. So then I'm going to click save and start. We're just going to see what sort of data that we get from this. Okay, so we're running this now. Usually the way that these actors work is they're actually spinning up like a thing in the cloud somewhere. It looks like there are no items in the data set, which tells me there's probably some issue with the cookies. Yeah, so it was an issue with the cookies. So I need to go back and I need to change how I provided the cookies. Restored default input. There we go. Session ID, value your session ID, domain Instagram. Okay, so I guess I just need to get the value then, right? So value should be this. I'm just going to paste in your session ID right here. We are going to try this one final time. Oh, did I not feed in any input? Hold on. No, we did. This guy, FigU.io. Cool. It's probably the guy that made the scraper or something. Yeah, I think so. Okay, we're going to check the log. And if this doesn't work, then odds are there is another Instagram scraper I could use. Cool. So cookies loaded. So it was just an issue with the formatting. Okay, so it looks like it did a little bit of scraping already, and now it's doing some sleeping, which is cool. And pretty soon, hopefully, we will have this populated. Awesome. We are actually already populating this. Look at this go. Wow, very cool. Oh, this is incredible. Okay, we don't get a lot of information. Never mind, we do. Facebook ID v2. Well, I'm kind of interested. Is that the same as this? How many numbers is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 10 numbers. Go back here to our scraper. This is more than 10. Yeah, unfortunately. Is this 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one's 10. Who knows? This might actually be the information that we need, the ID. If it is, then we could just use the ID, and that's basically going to be like an auto match all the time. Incredible. But okay, great. So we've scraped Instagram followers now. I've fixed the cookie bullshit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go, do you ever just fucking ascend? And I'm just going to use that as the example moving forward. Well, actually, we can just use the data from the Figu guy, actually. It's sufficient for us. We're going to go to runs, and then I'm going to go to this one, and then I'm going to go storage. I'm going to copy the default dataset ID, and I'm just going to go into make now, and I'm going to create a new scenario to deal with this. Actually pump the data in and handle it. So I'm going to call this Instagram followers scraper, then arrow, and then I'll say Facebook custom audience. So now we are going to go to Appify. What I want is I want the get dataset items, and then I'm just going to select my account here and then paste in the dataset ID that I just copied from the previous section. The value of this is now I have a direct route to just grab the data from Appify and stick it into make, which is valuable. The limit, I'm just going to go 10. Now I'm going to run this module only. And voila, now we have the same information that we had previously. It's just now we have it in make, which is fantastic. Now, I'm not really sure what PK underscore ID or ID is. If we can get the Facebook IDs, well, this is going to be like one of the most effective scrapers ever because we're going to have all the information that we need, really. And I'm really curious whether or not this is the Facebook app user ID. If this is going to look pretty good. Associate with your Facebook application. Facebook application. Can you grab Facebook app user IDs Instagram? App user IDs from Instagram. I'm going to ask GPT-4. I'm not expecting it's going to know unless it's super confident. Could be still. You don't know. You honestly don't know. Let me just check this out really quickly. This might just be meta. Okay, anyway, I'm thinking this may actually be what we need. If it is, that'll be incredible. because now we're going to have the first name, we're going to have the last name for a lot of these people, and we're going to have the Facebook app user ID, which is obviously an extraordinarily specific identifier. So I might try this. We're definitely going to dump all this data into a Google Sheet now. But before we do, why don't we just like run this through a quick verification to see whether or not the full name actually exists, like it's a real person. So names like this look real, right? So I'm just going to grab the data set items here, and I'm just going to go OpenAI, create a completion. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a system prompt first. So model GPT-4o. Actually, you know what? This is going to be such a high volume application. I should probably use a smaller model like GPT-4o mini. Idea being that because I'm going to be running this quite a few times in quick succession, I want to decrease my token count as much as possible. I want to decrease my costs. You know, we could potentially scrape hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers, right? My system prompt will be, you are a helpful, intelligent assistant. Let's just say writing assistant. And then my user prompt is where I'm going to give it instructions and basically tell it what I want it to do. So this is where the task goes. So I usually separate things into system prompt first, then the user, which I now call a task prompt. And then after that, if I need to give it examples, I give it examples in a third user prompt, which I call the example, and the assistant is the example answer. So I'm going to say, we are reviewing a list of Instagram profiles to determine whether or not the users, your task is to determine whether or not a provided input is a name, is a real name. Since users on Instagram can set their names to whatever they want, was to filter out names that are clearly fake, fictional, let's just say fake or fictional. Rules, let's say output your response in JSON using this format. I will say, let's go first name, last name. Let's go full name as well, just in case. If a profile doesn't include a name, leave all JSON fields empty. Hold on a second. You should probably have a verdict. So we'll go verdict first. Verdict will be true or false. First name will be first name or empty. Last name or empty. Then full name will be full name or empty. Okay, so this looks fine to me. I'm just going to run it now on some actual data. So I'm going to go user, and then I'm just going to feed it, and I'm going to use JSON to send as well as receive data, because I like treating models as API endpoints. I'm going to feed in the full name, and then the full name. Then I'm also going to be feeding in the biography. I don't know where this biography is, though. Didn't we have a biography a moment ago? I thought we did back in Apify. Let's go back here. Let's go to our output. Let's go show all fields biography. Weird. No, we don't actually have access to the biography. That's unfortunate. So I'm actually just going to leave that out. And I just screwed up by saying full name there. Instagram name. Let's do that. And then for the JSON, I'll just click Show Advanced Settings, Response Format JSON Object, Parse JSON Response. Here we go. Now, I just want to run this on a sample. Let's just do 10. Let's just run this and see what the data looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. Now that it's done that last one, I'm just going to run through it. I'm just going to see. It's very important for me to see whether or not this is correct. So verdict false. They left all three empty. Awesome. Henry Barrera. This one should be true. True, Henry Barrera, Nice. This has nothing, so it's going to be nothing. This has Kaya, so it's going to say false. This is Mathilde Besson Le Laoud, which I don't actually know. I guess this is just going to bundle it inside the last name. That's fine. Derish Kumar, which should be sufficient for us as well. Zaim Rafai should be sufficient. Wow, this is actually looking pretty good. Out of 10, I think we've gotten, what, 4 now? This will be false, I take it. Yeah. This one will be definitely false. And then this one will be Katelefe. This one will be false as well. Cool. So we got about half of them, which is what I was expecting. So let's say filter and extract names. Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do, after we filtered and extracted the name, we have to check to see if the name exists in our database. So really the only columns that matter for us are FN and LN for now. Do we get the location from Mapify? Would be kind of sweet if we did. Got a Nikki in the chat. Would be kind of sweet if we did. I wonder, do we get more data from another one? Like if we bundle a bunch of these together and then call another scraper, are we going to get the location? It'd be incredible if we did. Humans in New York, full name. We do get the biography, which could help, but no, we really don't. So there's no actual, like if you think about it, there's no value in us doing another step here. We could probably get most of the steps just by doing this. Okay, cool. So we're going to filter and extract a bunch of names. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my database, which is literally just going to be a big list of first and last names, to be honest. It's not going to be that great, especially the person's name is appearing multiple times. And then I'm going to search rows. And this is necessary because we need to check to see whether or not this entry exists inside of our database. Then I'm going to go to nick@leftclick.ai. I'm going to select this puppy. Hello, puppy. It's ready to be selected. Thank you. We'll call this custom audience database. And then the sheet name will just be sheet 1. What I'm looking to do is I'm looking to check to see whether or not there's a first name equal to first name and a last name equal to last name. Basically, I'm looking to see whether or not this person exists in the database. If they do exist in the database, then fantastic. If they don't exist in the database, then not fantastic. And I'm just realizing here that we may need, we could actually add one additional layer. Yeah, we should actually. We should get their gender as well. This would help. We should have it to try and assume whether or not somebody is male or female, essentially. Like we'll try, where it's not going to be 100%, but this is a third data point. So now we're going to have the first name, the last name, and we're also going to have, their supposed gender. And I don't believe there's anything else that we can do here. Hell, we actually, you know what? We might even be able to feed in the frickin' profile picture now that I'm thinking about it. That'd be incredible. Yeah, look how easy it is to determine whether somebody's a man or a woman. Sorry, I'm going to get roasted for that, aren't I? Anyway, let's go down here. Incredible. Wow, that's sweet, man. Okay. So kind of refactoring my whole approach here. Still. Kind of what we should do. I'm just trying to think about the best way to do this. You know, this is an okay database, but there are way too many fields here. Email, phone, MAID, whatever. All we really want is we want the first name and the last name. Then we want the gender. And then I think I'm going to include one of these codes as well. I believe. So if we go back to ads meta, there was a mobile advertiser ID. There's also the Facebook app user ID. Is it always going to be 10 digits? Always? Let me just see this really quickly. Yeah, first name. Okay, last names. Gender M or F. Okay, yeah, gender M or F. That's how we're going to do this. So we need first name, last name, gender M or F, and then why don't we also do our little code? We'll just do app UID. App UID. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that whatever I chose here was reasonable. And I'm just going to touch this up and make this look a little prettier, because I don't think Facebook is going to care. And then I'm going to go enter. Okay. So now we have everything that we need to actually dump leads into this. So kind of what I should do here is I should search to see whether the first name or last name exists. And one more, we should check to see whether or not the, sorry, let me just refresh this. I'm going to have to because I just added a bunch of new fields. Oh, weird. This actually doesn't look like it has been refreshed yet. Let me start at the very top, work my way down. Custom audience database here. Just going to refresh this puppy. It's going to get the new filters. And then what I want to check to see is whether or not this field, first name is equal to first name, and this field, last name is equal to last name, and whether app UID is equal to app UID, which I'm just going to grab from PKID, I guess. I'm going to return 1. And then from here, all I need to do is just, go to add a row. Then if the total number of bundles here is 0, aka if this did not find anything, then I'll continue and I'm actually going to add a row to my database. So obviously I have to go through the whole rigmarole of finding the database again. I think that like the Google Sheets modules kind of suck and make, to be honest, because I find in practice it actually takes me just as much time to set the module up initially and just click through and wait all these buttons as it does to actually do the logic. So now we can go through, and what I'm looking for is first name, last name, app UID, which I think was just ID, and then the gender, I'm going to get it to output as well. So we'll go gender here. And then over here, let's go M or F. For Jen, attempt to determine whether or not the name seems male or female. If male, enter M. If F, enter F. Okay. I'm going to try this again. You do sometimes run into issues when you do prompts like this, where this does not want to give you an output because it's, I don't know, scared for political correctness reasons or whatever. Like if somebody's name is Henry Barrera, like odds are they're probably male. Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks like it is actually doing it. Doesn't look like I'm putting this in my Google Sheet though. Why? Oh, right, because I said gender here, but it's actually Jen now. So let's just go back. Let's delete everything. Let's just delete all these actually. So just in case there's some special formatting there I'm not paying attention to, this gets sorted as well. Oh, and I screwed up here because this actually should not be progressing unless the verdict is true. Right. There we go. All right, let's run this puppy one more time. Delete. And then we'll go back here. I say puppy a lot. It's because I'm actually just a giant puppy at heart. It should be outputting the gen, man. Why is it not outputting the gen? Oh, no, it is outputting the gen. So what's going on here? Why don't we have gen? Oh, geez. I'm using the freaking search rows. Jesus, I'm all over the place today. Okay, this is what we want. My bad. And I'm again going to delete these records. And now I'm going to run this, hopefully one final time. Okay, great. Looks like out of 10 or so, we got 4. I'm anticipating it's going to be about 50%. I am kind of skeptical as to whether or not that app ID is actually something for us. I don't know for sure. But okay, we now have a way to scrape profiles with reasonable precision, which is nice. So from here, I'm just going to run this on all the data. Why? Because it would be fun. And I'm just kind of curious. Let's say out of 100 records with an offset of 10, because I want to get the new ones, how many of these actually make it to the end? While this is running and dumping in leads, why don't we do a little bit of math and let's just determine whether or not, let's determine whether or not we can do this Facebook ad stuff programmatically. So Facebook ads API, we just go custom audiences, Facebook custom audiences. Here we go. Create a custom audience. Beautiful. Add emails, add users. Ooh, that's beautiful. Okay. All right. So I think I figured this out. Looks like I have a bunch of Facebook accounts. Wonderful. Let's go here. We'll try for left click. Name will be example audience for now. What happens if I create example audience? Please agree to the custom terms at this link. Okay, so now I need to go and I need to agree to these custom audience terms. Accept. Okay, let's give this a try again. Well, thank you very much. Let's go down to audiences and then let me see here. Yeah, I guess I could probably do add users to a custom audience. I take it that this is what I would want to do. Okay, left click, add account, left click. This is looking a lot easier than I thought, honestly. Example audience data, email, phone, gender. It'd just be M or F, right? All right, screw it. Let's give this a try. We'll go here. We'll go here. Yeah, A to Z only. Special characters in UTF-8. Yeah, I don't know if that weird special character is actually going to work, unfortunately. First name initial. No, that's fine. Mobile advertiser ID country. Imagine if we just like set them all to the USA. I wonder if that would help. Okay, page scoped user ID, page ID. All right, that should be sufficient. Cool. Yeah, honestly, that looks like it. To be real, the system is pretty straightforward. I think all I'm going to do now is just add one of these. Say M, say Nicholas, and then I'll say Saraf. Value not found in options. Why? We go back to the gender. Why not? If I go male and then I click map, it's lowercase m. Go female, it's a lowercase f. So is it just that it's a lowercase? I might need to do lowercase. Let's feed in this and let's just go lower. And then I'm going to go M Nicholas Saraf. Ah, yes, that was the issue. Doesn't look like there were any invalid entry samples. Now, if I go back to, oh geez, I don't actually know which one this was. Let's go to my left click add account. Let's load up the custom audiences. Let's see what we got. Right over here. Nice. Oh, and it actually found me. It didn't find Nicholas, or I found Nick Saraf. Incredible. So it actually matched that to the right person, which is nuts. Okay, great. So now that we have this, why don't we just add a bunch of people to my own custom audience so I could terrorize them? I'll be like, hello, you were in a YouTube video that I made. Yeah, we don't actually even need this database, to be completely honest, but I'm going to include this here just for relevance. Search if exists. Add to DB. Create custom audience. Add user to custom audience. So we're not actually going to want to create the custom audience every time, obviously. But we could do so at the beginning of the search, which I'm going to show you guys in a second. Now that we have all this, I'm just going to go back here and just delete 90% of these. Let's just run this on some actual data, see what happens. Okay, lead number 1 added, lead number 2 added, lead number 3 added, 4. I'm not seeing any invalid entry examples, which is nice. Just going to refresh this to see how big this audience is and how many of these have actually connected. Well, I don't really know if this is just not showing me the usage correctly or something. Oh, shit, I just keep on adding next arrive, don't I? Is that what I keep on doing? Oh, no, I look to be adding the right people, or right information anyway. Cool. Why don't I go back here? And then maybe I have to refresh this one more time. We're going to click example audience again. It is getting bigger for sure. We added 15 rows. Oh, I get it. Sorry. This name here is the person that is doing this. The actual audience itself. Right. The actual audience itself has the data, but it's sort of behind the scenes. I understand now. You can't see the people added to said audience. Okay, so I'm going to wait until we finish all 100 or so of these. So after we finish 100, I'm going to double check and see how many of them were actually successfully added to the custom audience that I created. And I'm just looking to see whether or not there's a difference in the numbers. The reason why is because I'm just curious whether or not that number has any validity for us, right? Just want to see. This is 27. Yeah, I know it says 27, whereas this one says 36. So we're actually getting much better numbers than I thought. I think it's actually like finding the Facebook ID of the person, what looks like 70% of the time. So I was thinking it would find it like less than that realistically. Well, actually, no, didn't I say 70%? Oh yeah, I said 70% of 50%, so 35% in total, but 70% of the names provided. Off 3 data points, honestly, pretty damn good. I'm proud of my estimation abilities. So yeah, we're just pushing this through now. We got a couple more that we need to wait for. Beautiful. It looks like 55 made it through. A couple of these were not new. A couple of these were the same as before. I'm curious how this record went. So I'm kind of, yeah, let's take a peek at this. This is run number 34, was it? Maybe it was 35. You know what? I'm just going to check I can't actually check the output bundles. That's annoying. I really want to see which one this was. So why don't I just open up a bunch of these and just check to see whether or not I can find. So Jeffrey was, oh, okay. Actually, it was a little bit before. So I'm going to grab this one. This looks like it was added correctly. No issues. That's fine. All right, so out of 45, let's see how big the actual Facebook ad audience got. Let's see how many of these were like basically legit. They were found. Go back to my example audience, go history. Yeah, it looks like it added all 45, honestly. I'm not seeing a major issue here. Maybe this just had a little bit of time that it needed to catch up. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I think this is solid. I wonder if I could look and find specific customers. No, I can't. You know, it's obvious that they hide the custom audience from me because they just don't want you to like screw around with private and confidential information, and that's okay. Awesome. So now that I have this flow and it actually automatically does what I want, let's just zoom out a little bit and let's sort of like think through this problem in a little bit more detail. There are 2 of these modules, right? There's create a custom audience and then there's add user to custom audience. So if you think about it, like we kind of want an automated mechanism that allows us to do this. If we wanted to do this, there are a few different routes that you could take. You could, for instance, trigger this scraper to start running. And only when you trigger the scraper to start running do you create a custom audience. And then that custom audience is the same custom audience that all subsequent modules use, basically. So we are going to add users to that custom audience and no others. So we could do that where, you know, every new profile, for instance, has its own custom audience. Let's just go watch actor runs. Then let's create a custom audience. So basically, after the actor is done running, then custom audience will be made. The custom audience we're going to make is going to be called the input. Something to do with the input anyway. Let me think about this. We need to get the person that we are scraping, right? How are we going to get the person that we are scraping is the question. Because I'm looking here at the data that we get from the actor runs, and it doesn't look like it includes the input, right? Yeah, it doesn't. So we need to find a way to get the value that we provided as an input to this username run. Actually, maybe we do get that. Why don't we just give this a try? I'm just going to go back here. You know, I don't want to make any assumptions here. Why don't we just do one page? Let's go, do you ever just fucking ascend? And then save. Then what I'm going to do is I'll go over here, watch actor runs. What you need to do is you need to create a webhook that watches Instagram follower scraper completed. The actor I'm going to want is the Instagram follower scraper. I think it's this one, Figure. Then I'm going to OK this. And what I just want to do is I just want to run this. And then I just want to run this too. So basically, I just want to scrape one single page. The reason why is I just want to see if I can get the input data. This is going to finish in a second. When it does, it's going to be green like this. We're going to get the values here. No, I'm definitely not getting the information. I wonder if I could like get the input from somewhere else. I need the input. Like we're going to need a way. We're going to need a way to get that information. Can I use the key value, the default request queue ID? If I just download the output bundles, is this information anywhere? Figure? Okay. What happens if I query the request queue ID instead? It's just like, I'm just looking to see whether this data is anywhere. Data set was not found. That's annoying. Oh, hold on. There is a value. Oh, there is something called input here. Okay. So I'm going to go back and then I'm going to feed this in. Shit. Data set was not found. Well, this makes me think that we can access this somehow. We just have to find a way to access this. So how do we access this? Is there an API call that we can make to Apify? I think so. I think that's what we're going to have to do. I don't see any other way. I mean, watch actor runs, watch task runs. Yeah, I think we're going to have to do some Apify API stuff. So Apify API. That is a very, very big icon. And what we want is, we want webhooks. Sorry, we want, what was it? Key value? Wrong one. Also wrong one. This is what we want. Okay, so get an object that contains all the details about a specific key value store. Beautiful. So key-value-stores/store ID. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to make my own HTTP call, make a request. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed this in, and the store ID that I'm going to be looking to reference is going to be this one. Then I'm just going to go and I'm going to get all of the API details, api.apify.com. It's just a GET request. So the authorization needs an API authorization bearer scheme. This is really annoying API docs, to be honest. I thought this would be way better. So authorization bearer, probably. The way that authorization works is most of the time you have authorization, then you write the term bearer, and then you feed the API key in after. So we're going to try this. I'm going to go to my Apify instance console, just jump over to one of the API keys that I've set up. I am going to add a new token. We'll just call this my API key for data store stuff. Need a little bit better of a naming scheme. I'm going to copy this one, go back here, and then just paste in the bearer. I'm just going to see what happens when I call this. It's 200. Okay. Well, looks like we got some data about it. We didn't get the freaking input, though. That's what I care about. Okay, hold on. Is this actually the right thing? I'm just going to remove this and see if I can make the call. No, it's unauthorized. I'm pretty sure this is like the right scheme. The question is, I'm not getting the data that I wanted from the API. I thought that I would get the store, right? So maybe it's the key collection in the store that I need. Maybe it's the record that I need. Get the store, update the store, delete the store, get list of keys. Get a value stored in the key value store under a specific key. So that is what I want. Yeah, this is the thing that I want. What is the key going to be? I think it's just going to be called input, to be honest. So let me go back here, paste this in, This is going to be the store ID. And then the record key is going to be input capital. All right. Let's give this puppy a run. Nice. Username. Okay, perfect. So now we have everything that we need. So very first thing we need to do is we need to watch the actor runs. Then we need to make a request. Get input account or get follower, get account name, I think, right? After we get the account name, we're going to create a custom audience. We're just going to call the custom audience the account name. It's going to be called username. And then I'll just say scraped from Appify using usernames followers, just for convenience. We're then going to feed this into get dataset items. Fantastic. Get dataset items is going to extract the dataset ID from default dataset ID, which is from the actor run that just finished. I'm going to set the limit to 10,000 with no offset. We're then going to filter and extract the names using AI. If the name exists in a database, we are not going to continue. But if it is new, then we are going to continue. And then at the end of it, we will add the user to a custom audience. What audience? A custom audience that we created in the previous flow here, which we will get using the custom audience ID. Here we will put in the gender information, the first name and the last name information. And then that is the flow from start to finish. With all of that said, let's see how this works end to end. Let us go back to our Appify flow and scrape, do you ever just fucking ascend? Let's do 10 pages. Let's do 8 pages. We'll do 12 per page, so 96-ish total. Then save and start. This is going to take me a little bit longer because, obviously we have to wait until it's done. But I think that this end-to-end test is worth it just for us to figure out whether or not whether or not this thing actually works. You ever just get in the habit of saying the same word over and over and over again, and then just becomes like a crutch that you lean on? That's basically me. Okay, so we got a bunch of the data now. Perfect. Beautiful, beautiful. Murdoch is everywhere. You'll see here that we do get a username and a full name column, and I'm only feeding in one, I believe. So that's something to consider. I should probably feed in both, not just the username. Right. Obviously, I'm going to have a higher throughput that way. Anyway, it's still working, which is cool. I'm going to go back to my little database here. Actually, we need to update this column. We don't need this. And then we also, instead of this column, what I want the user that I did the scraping from. Anyway, I'm just going to wait for this to finish. Actually, I'm not going to wait for this to finish. That'd be useless. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to go back over here. And then first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to say account scraped from. I'm going to delete all these, go back here. What I'm going to do is instead of app UID, it is now account scraped from. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to grab, do you ever just fucking ascend here? Nice. And then there's one check that I have to do. I think it's in the Google sheet because I run a search that's actually using the app ID. So account scraped from should equal, actually, no, we're just not going to have any account scraped from. We are going to have the gender just in case. Okay, great. That is good now. Wonderful. Okay. Let's run this one more time. Let's go back to Appify, run this one more time. And while that is running, let's go to our sheet and let's just delete 99% of these records. I'm just going to leave the Henry one in there. We're going to say figu.io, just because I don't want to have to update the formatting. If you don't have a record here, when make puts in the first request, it's going to just copy like the weird green stuff here, but still should be fine. Cool. And that way we have basically everything that we need. We have an ongoing record of every account that we've scraped, as well as the account that it was scraped from, which is valuable. And then we also have the data put directly into the Facebook custom audience to. I've connected the Facebook custom audience. Obviously, in order to do this on your end, you're going to have to do like the connection itself. Connection is not super difficult. You just need to sign into your Facebook account. If you are working with a client, you may not necessarily have access to this, but this is okay. If you can't do this, you could also do my other approach, which would be just going through this sheet and then grabbing all of the people for a specific username. And once you have all the people for a specific username, just export that sub-selection into a sheet, and then you're good to go. Okay, we now see that it is running. Beautiful. This looks great. This is basically exactly what I wanted. And these 3 data points look more than sufficient. Cool. So I'm just going to leave that running. But yeah, that is the Facebook custom audience scraper in a nutshell. Basically, what we are doing is we are adding fuel to the fire of an otherwise reasonably successful approach, which is building custom audiences. We are sourcing data from Instagram, and through sourcing data from Instagram, we're getting first names, last names, and then expected genders of the people. Those 3 data points are then fed into Facebook. Facebook finds the profile of the person that we are referring to, just because it has access to so goddamn much data that it can. And then, we basically give this to whoever the ads manager is. And then the ads manager can use this to create lookalike audiences where they target people that just have the same qualities, or they market to this specific group of people. So in that way, you can show ads to hyper fine-tuned groups. Then in showing ads to these hyper fine-tuned groups, you can obviously make your ad campaigns work a lot better for you. Hope you guys appreciate the video. I had a lot of fun putting that together. If you have any questions about this, feel free to let me know. You can find the blueprint down below. And if you have any other user requests, fan requests that you guys would like me to put together, then please let me know. If it's a good system, it's one that I haven't built before, I'll absolutely build it live. I really enjoy doing these, and they're very straightforward content production methods for me as well. Please like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I'll catch you on the next video. Cheers.